Okay, welcome to another interview for the Millionairess magazine and the Millionairess movement. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson, Editor-in-Chief, and today I am delighted to be joined by powerhouse Debbi Dachinger. Debbi is a media personality and media visibility expert who has been interviewed on over 1,000 media outlets. She is the syndicated award-winning podcast host of Dare to Dream and has been nominated for 2 People's Choice Podcast Awards. In addition, Debbi is a keynote speaker, a certified coach, and the author of 3 international best-selling books. As a media visibility authority, Debbi coaches her clients on how to write a book and take it to international bestseller status. And in the ultimate visibility formula, Debbi teaches clients how to be interviewed on radio and podcasts in 60 days or less, which sounds fabulous. So Debbi, tell us your story of your journey to how you got to where you are today. And welcome to the Millionairess magazine, by the way. I'm excited to get into it.
I am too. Thank you for having me. I love that we're across the world from each other, and yet we can connect like this.
So close.
Majestically. Yes, it's a beautiful thing that we live today with all this ease. You know, I have always somehow, some way been doing something that had to do with living out loud.
Yeah,
it had to do with somehow having a song inside and being really connected with expressing it. And it's taken a lot of different forms throughout my life. The majority of my life growing up, I was an actress and a singer professionally. It's what I did, it's all I loved. And I got to a point where that changed. You know, I was well into my adulthood and I thought, what? You know, what does somebody do? Because this is my entire identity since I was a child. You know, scary, weird, especially when you don't know, and, you know, nothing's abundantly clear or being revealed. So I just did the only thing I knew, which was, let's surrender. You know, let's just surrender and let go, which is strange. It was an awesome, strange choice that actually facilitated me to become who I am today and where I am. I'm so glad I did it. 3 years, right? 3 years of not knowing, trying different things, trusting that if something came and was an opportunity and I got excited about it, it was mine to do. And I would often do it, and I would do it for a period of time and say, well, that was kind of awesome, but I don't feel like that was it, you know, in air quotes. And then I would do something else. But I'll tell you what's fabulous in hindsight is looking back over the course of all the many things I did over that time, which were all uber creative and very much out there, speaking on stage, singing in front of bands, running a jewelry business across the United States, all sorts of things. It turned out that each piece of those different careers, if you will, ultimately allowed me to do what I'm doing right now. They definitely were like this beautiful, magical soup of business and of knowing how to speak and more. So that when I stepped into this, who I am today, I knew how to do many pieces. And so that's, you know, the easy, I think, way to express how I started and where I ended up here. It was a lot of trust, and it was a lot of letting go, and it was a lot of trying things that seem fun and free, and then having discernment. This is for me, this is not for me. And then ultimately, you know, ending up here, being a radio host, a podcast host, an author, a coach, a speaker, and somewhat of a healer.
You know, I can see that. You know, we're aligned in so many ways. And I think there's a great saying from one of my mentors, Dr. John Demartini, where he says, your past story is on the way, not in the way of who you become. And you're living your calling, and all that experience has led you to where you are so that now you can share your wisdom with others and heal people. In a form, it is kind of healing, because people, you know, they've got so much music within themselves, and they don't know how to express it. So that's kind of in essence what you're saying, because I want to ask you now, you are known for being a media visibility expert. Tell us more about that. Is that about helping people bring out their best within, turning it into reality?
What it is about, Amanda, is actually me seeing people for who they really are, and often people don't see. And that means everything from somebody who's starting out and they know that media exposure is a game changer. Like they get it energetically and they realize, oh, if I do this thing, if I write a book, if I become a bestseller, if I get interviewed, it could actually change everything. My tribe can find me, I can make sales, I can fill workshops, I can be known for a particular niche. There's a lot that can happen. But if I sit back and I'm invisible, which is what a lot of people are more comfortable being, it's not going to bring me the things that my heart really desires. So part of it is seeing those beginning people and saying, you don't really know this about yourself, but I want to speak a little bit about what your brilliance really is. Mm-hmm. And so we'll go there. And then, of course, that also ultimately means that sometimes we need to do a little bit of tweaking around what their weaknesses are, that they're not aware of, that are going out there and actually broadcasting quite a bit. And then I've got people who come to me who are successful. You know, they've been doing what they do. And what I have found, and this is kind of fun for me, but I found that there are very successful people who have been doing a particular thing for a long enough time that they're starting to come up against what feels a bit like a wall or a crossroads. Yeah. And they intuitively know, you know, I feel like I'm being called to something else, but I don't really know what it is. And I feel like I've been doing this successfully and I probably should keep doing it, but I kind of really don't want to anymore and I don't know where to go. I mean, perfect. I've been there. I feel you. So, right? And yeah. So those are some of my favorites because in a way there is a brand new treasure being ready to be born out of there. And it often is not what they did. Although the pieces of what they've been are gold to carry them forward. Like they're seasoned, they're savvy, but there's something new. And that brings up an incredible vulnerability and concern for people. Like, what am I doing switching gears at this time in my life? Exactly. Follow the calling, the call of the wild, right? It's really calling to you. And I help facilitate those changes and then allow them to be visible doing this new piece.
I think that's truly wonderful. I've been through that exact experience myself and tried to bury it for 3 years. Like yourself, I've done speaking for many years and things like that. And the calling, which is the movement for me, and creating, you know, a global stage of women like yourself that I get to have conversations with, to hand on the wisdom or to hand on the light or be the lighthouse for others, you know. It is that crossroads, and a lot of it comes down to feeling vulnerable. You know, a lot of women, a lot of entrepreneurial women, you know, feel vulnerable, exposing themselves into the limelight. You know, what would you say to a woman sitting at home watching this interview that feels like, I know I have so much more in me, but I'm frightened of the criticism from other people, what other people will think about me. I'm frightened I'll fail and look silly out there. What would you say to a woman thinking that?
If you are given the dream, you are also given the power to make it come true.
Yeah.
It's incumbent on us to take that soup, that dream, and salt and pepper it. And that means not knowing. And that means not being comfortable. And that means taking that step. The truth is, most people won't judge us, although it's understandable that people have fear because we're taught to love security. But what does that even mean? Yeah. How are you secure doing something you don't love anymore that isn't serving you? And if it's not serving you, it ultimately is definitely not serving other people. Life is a journey. Life is about change. And life is about aligning ourselves with the new train tracks as they're going off on a different path. You don't have to know everything, but you do have to know that you're being called. And you do have to choose to turn that light on, if you will, and trust that the universe has your back. The universe is there for you. It is conspiring for you. And if you've already been leading this awesome, successful life and you're being called, like, whoa, what kind of awesome, successful dream is that going to be? And how, I would suggest to anybody, have a vision. Vision yourself in 10, 20 years, looking back on this portion of your life and saying, thank goddess I trusted.
I love that.
Like, look where I am today. That was a big leap of faith. And the fact that I let go and surrendered at that level and allowed the holy flow of life to take me here, I'm so grateful. And have that vision and know that all the pieces will be filled in for you.
I love, thank goddess. I might have to borrow that down under here in Australia and let the world know that you shared that with me today. I love it. Thank goddess. I agree. It is time for more women to rise up, band together, and, stand on the world stage and share our gifts, which brings me to this fabulous question for you, your podcast. Now, your podcast helps people to get to the finish line of their dreams and their goals. In other words, to live their true life purpose. Tell us why you created this and why you are so passionate about helping people reach their full potential, Debbi.
Okay. This is a multi-layered answer, and I'll do my best to track here.
Okay.
Ultimately, dreams became important because I discovered a recipe. Somewhere along the line, I discovered a recipe, and I started experimenting with that recipe and realizing, oh, if I do these certain steps, no matter what the dream is, it's going to come true. And I was lit on fire from within. So I end up doing this radio show, which is not even where I was headed at all. I was doing cartoon voiceover work and getting paid very nicely. And I was just trying to find different ways to get my voice out there. And I end up in this radio job thinking, what am I doing here? I don't think this is fun. I'm doing a music show. You can leave. I'm telling myself you can leave anytime, when all of a sudden the owners say, we like what you're doing and we want to give you your own talk show. What would it be? Just go home and think about it. And I went home and I received this complete download. It's Dare to Dream. And that's all I want to talk about. I want to teach people how to create dreams. I want to have guests on, much like who you mentioned earlier. Those are my guests. Very, very high level, high quality transformational leaders like Dr. John DeMartini, and I could name names. They are like being in a masterclass. One of my highest values in life is growing from inside, and major energy work, self-development. And I found that by virtue of doing my show, I was completely putting myself in front of people who were giving me information and changing me and giving me thoughts I hadn't thought before. And it was really important. Because I did the radio show, and at some point that got parlayed into podcast syndicated, I started to do different things out in the world and disseminate doing dreams in different ways to reach different people. Like now doing the show, even though it was worldwide, wasn't enough. Now I wanted to start writing books and reaching more people. And I was hearing from people in Spain and other countries, we're using your book as a mastermind, and we're meeting every week and doing chapters about how to create dreams and talking about what we're creating. And then clients started coming to me, and I was just watching this life start to form. And again, trust, right? I had no idea all of what was unfolding, and it was really pretty glorious. Yeah. The backstory, I think, that's concurrent with all of this is that as a kid, I was very talented, if you will, in the sense that the one place I was really at home, Amanda, was on stage. It was the one place I just loved being and lived for. Singing, acting, just was a beautiful thing for me. I didn't feel that way in my real life as a being. I was an awkward kid, and I didn't fit in. I was definitely different. I was not the most popular kid for a long time. And I had a home life that was somewhat troubling. There was not a lot of support. It was one parent, absent, completely. I never even knew my dad till I was a little older. And being a fatherless daughter, does stuff. And so, what happened was there was a point in my life where, as a very little kid, I would hear a sound, and I would hear my mom's heels going down the hallway. And then I would hear the keys in her hands, and I realized she's leaving. And to me, I thought she's leaving forever, because my dad left before I was born and never came back. And somehow in my mind, I said, if they leave, they never come back.
Right.
So I'm a little kid, like 2 years old, every day, racing to try to beat her to the front door. She's a teacher, a music teacher, leaving the house. I'm screaming, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. The nanny's trying to pull me away from the window. Mom doesn't turn around. She keeps walking and goes right to the car, starts it up and leaves. And so this is a trauma that goes on over and over and over again, I think, until some point I just internalized it and shut down. But this idea of being leavable, of being unlovable, of being unseen and unheard, that even my cries would not stop someone to comfort me or tell me or assure me, I will be back, I love you, I'll never leave you. All of this, it really contributed to a really particular headset that was taking me through life, and very strong aberrant beliefs about myself. And years later, when I was acting and singing, in school, I had seen the year before the big play for me, 1 year older kids. I saw a gal who had become a star of the play. And all of a sudden, the cool kids, the popular kids said, come have lunch with us every day. And she did. And as soon as the play was done, they dumped her. And I thought, oh, I would never let that happen to me. That's terrible, right? That's horrible. And what do you think happened? The next year came the play. I was cast in the lead. The popular kids, like, I don't know, was this passed down? This insanity. The popular kids.
The mindset is.
Come eat with us. I'm sitting there right up at the front of the lunchroom with the popular kids, in all my glory. And then the play ends. And one day the good looking jock comes over, and I'm there early, ready to sit and eat. And he leans over before the other kids get there, and he said, nobody likes you. They don't want you here.
Wow.
I said, you're a liar, And he said, I'm not. Meet us at 3 p.m. in the back of the school. And I did, which is something somebody who has self-esteem would never do. But I had none. No protection device. And this young, adorable little girl went out into the playground and stood there while all the popular kids stood around her, and boy, girl said, I don't like you, and here's why. I don't like you, and here's why. And what may be worse than that very, very crushing experience is I had no one at home to go talk to about it. And so all of this stuff got very internalized and affirming that I was not lovable. I was not someone to be seen. So you can see, on the one hand, acting, singing, look at me. On the other hand, I'm nothing. And I took that on. At some point, when I got old enough to start to understand, I'm in pain. And there is a very this is not a fun life that's unfolding, and not fun thoughts I have. So I went on a very earnest healing journey, very trusting. I didn't know the next thing that was going to come about, but I always knew when it was right. I've always been very plugged in, and I've always known, this is the next right step. This is the next right teacher, the next right process, whatever it was. I was never a junkie and all that, but I was very discerning. And it served me well, because each of them, like a flower, just all that I released and all that I was able to bloom into. And I got to a point where I knew for myself, visibility, what's it going to be, Debbie? Because I was asked to speak all the time, and I would lose sleep for days, for weeks. I was a wreck. And then I would get on stage and something else would happen. And I started to say, so that's not the real me that worries and feels I'm not enough. The real me is clearly who shows up on stage. So now what can I do? I can keep healing, and I do. But what about choice? Am I enough right now? Is this in my wheelhouse? Was I born to do this? Am I a light bearer? And if I am, then it is my job, my soul's job, to shine the light and to teach. Then I must say yes and choose that the rest of that does not ever have to be my experience again. And it started to show up in relationships. Not that relationship. Nope, never again. Nobody gets to talk to me like that. You don't get to treat me like that. That job doesn't serve me. I was cutting out all sorts of things that before had been affirming my lack. And now only what was right was the abundance that my soul was and came here to be. That God, goddess does not make junk. And I was a treasure, and I needed to treat myself like that. The rest was beautiful in a very strange, perverted way, because I had that childhood. So guess what? When somebody shows up in front of me and they have concerns, I have major compassion and empathy. But we're not going to live there. We're going to find the way that they shine their light. So all of that to say, Amanda, that the story has been this an interesting concurrent story of like being out there and doing all this stuff. And it's probably at least 1,500 media outlets I've been interviewed on. But at the same time, really having to work through with a lot of choice what was holding me back. And then ultimately, what a gift. You know, the wound is the gift we give to the world when we work through it. Our mess is our message that we can say, I understand. I've been there, but you know what? I'm not there anymore. So if you'll trust me, I'll get you to the other side. I got you.
That was a beautiful story, and such a story that I know myself and millions of others would relate to in so many ways. It's almost like you're repeating my story, except I'm not a singer or a dancer in my dreams. I want it to be, because I love being on the stage too. However, the work has been 30 years working on myself, harder, as Jim Rohn says, harder than your job or your career or your business. The work is constant and never ending. And probably like yourself, I invest more time, energy, and money into my self-education than I do anything else, because, you know, we're all human beings, and, you know, to heal other people or to be a light bringer, it never stops. And this is where a lot of women, I believe, make the unfortunate mistake. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about self-worth. You know, we all go through those moments where we don't feel worthy of the dreams we have. We don't feel worthy of the calling that we know is within us. And how, you know, I want to talk a little bit like that, because we say inside Millionairess that your self-worth determines your net worth, and your net worth determines your life worth. And so many women suffer from that self-worth issue. What would you say to that woman? What is the very one thing to do today that could help them move closer to becoming who they were born to be?
I would urge them to dialogue with the universe, and I'll tell you why. You know, we can have such a little, limited, myopic version of ourselves. And the universe has this grand, beautiful vision of who we are and why we're here. And we don't even have to believe it, but we can just get into a meditative dialogue with the universe. How do you see me? Where do you see me? Where can I be functioning? You know, if I'm tapped into the universal all that is, what kind of download do you need to give me? And if this is what I'm currently feeling about my net worth, what is it actually really? And if this is how I'm feeling about my self-worth, you show me, what is it really? And ask for a symbol. You may be given an animal that can be some kind of spirit totem. Look it up. You know, what does it mean? Where could it guide me? What kind of principles could I take on that will help me? You know, animals are very powerful and they can really inform us about maybe there's qualities that are actually inherent in us, but are buried beneath all the layers of crap and beliefs that aren't even true. But if we just start taking them on, we may stand differently, act differently, talk differently, dress differently. Or maybe you're given something in nature that you're asked to carry with you as some kind of powerful object that's going to assist you. I think I just want to say this because it's so important. And I think about this so much today, how light years I am from where I once was. Because
Yes.
I used to struggle with money so much. Oh my God. I was always living like just making it, or not making it. The amount of worry and concern and angst and sleepless and dear God prayers and all that stuff. And I just at some point, it was like this horrible mantle I was carrying around. I was just like, done. I'm done. You've never, I mean, literally talking to you, you've never served me. Not 1 ounce of the, maybe you made my hairs gray, I don't know. But you did nothing to serve my finances, my insides, my life. You've made it difficult. You've made it uncomfortable. So I don't know. What if everything stayed the same and I just didn't do that, but I had faith instead?
Yeah.
What if I just jumped off that cliff and like I trusted there was a hand somehow there to catch me? And I got to tell you, I have lived that way for so many years now. It's all I know. And even with everything going on with COVID, the recent COVID experience and other things where I've seen people just freaking out. And I will every so few weeks check in with myself and go, I'm okay. I had some lean weeks and I was okay. And then I came out the other side as like, not so lean. Tons of opportunity flooding in, so many opportunities. I had to start saying, what's a yes, what's a no here? And so that has really served me. So I would say to anybody, those two things, talk to the universe, really. What if they knew better? What if they had a better movie playing than the theater you're in right now, and buy tickets for that movie instead and go live it, get your power object. And then how is worry serving you? How is struggling serving you? And if it is not, then can you release it and just make another choice?
I had a fabulous conversation not so long ago with Kim Kiyosaki, who I'm sure you'd know. And she said, when people say to her that money is not important, she says, well, money affects everything that is important. And I couldn't agree more, because we get to choose where we live, the type of health we have in our latter years, and now schools for our children, where we get to dine, the type of food we get to eat, the kind of shelter we get to live, and then the philanthropic work that we get to do and give. I have a very good relationship with money, but I think that was a void in my childhood, Debbie. I was told money doesn't grow on trees. Get out and work hard if you want anything in life. And that became a void because, for me, freedom was so badly wanted as a child, growing up with conformity, and going to schools where I was taught by nuns and things like that. And I just wanted to break loose. And, I have a real thing about teaching women to value what money does. And I see it just as a fair exchange. And I believe, or in fact, I know that we earn the exact proportion to the value that we bring to the world. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, it's an interesting statement, I will say, especially when you're thinking about raising prices, right?
And why not? If the value far exceeds the price rise, if you can change somebody's life, I always say to myself, okay, the money that we have in exchange, if we can give far greater value and truly change somebody's destiny, change their life for the better, then I just see it as just energy moving. It's just energy like everything else. And so, I share with women very openly that, you take your value to the world, your gifts, turn your mess into your message, or your, problems into a solution for other people. People will gladly hand you over the, what do you call it over there? The green stuff.
Yeah, it's very true. I love what you're saying, because they will they will pay you, and they
Yeah.
will pay you well. And especially if you're in a niche that people don't understand. And what's great about that is there's a lot people don't understand. You know, people don't understand money. So people will pay to get some ease with money. People don't understand media. You know, who knew? What's so easy for me to teach people? I have friends who say, God, I want to hire you. I've calls set up with people who are also in New Zealand and other countries are like, you got to show me this because I already know I need to start doing it. Yes, you do. And especially now, if you can't travel, if there are things that are holding you back, guess what? Technology does not. You can be anywhere in the world in front of thousands and thousands of people by being interviewed, by writing a book, by becoming a bestseller. This is the time to get your book writing coach and get all of these ducks in a row. So yes, people do pay very well. And I am a firm believer in over delivering. I
Yes.
want my clients always to leave and gossip well about me.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah, what are you doing? I'm in Debbie's class. I'm one of Debbie's private clients. Oh my God. This is what I'm getting. This is how it's changing. I have confidence. I get the system. My book is coming out next week and I've never been prouder. I'm creating a dream. All of this stuff that lights me on fire. And I love to work with hungry people. They don't need to know the system. I'll tell them the system.
Exactly.
But I love, if they're willing to show up, I am going to take them there. So yes, over delivering is a beautiful thing. Making people happy is fantastic because there's a lot of people out there who don't do that. So let's fill in those gaps, you know?
I couldn't agree more with you. You know, over here with Millionairess, we call it, if you can switch your idea of sales or selling to soulfully serving, then that helps dissolve the angst around asking for your worth. And if you can serve somebody and truly impact their life in a way that they couldn't themselves, then, you know, I see it as just, it's a bargain. You know, I know how and I'm sure you have too. You know, a lot of the masters in our area. Myself, I've invested over $630,000 since I left home at 16 into my self-education. And people go, that's a lot of money. And it is a lot of money, but it started with a book, Debbie. And so to get where you want in life, would you, like you with your helping people write a bestseller and get media attention, if people don't or not willing to invest in themselves, why would other people be willing to invest in them?
You know, your sentence also does not end at $630,000. It's not period and end of story. What happens is you invested that and there's an ROI. Your return on investment,
tenfold,
at least.
Way more than that. In fact, way more than that.
Yes. There is no way you could be operating where you are financially and as a woman and as a human without having all of that inner leverage, right? In all that inner love, all that inner happiness, that willingness, that expansion, all of that. You must heal so much of the darkness for the light to get in. And if you will do that, the light is about the money. The light is about a career we love, the people we want to connect with, you know, having clients, having influential friends, having collaborations with people that are really meaningful, being invited to things that you would, like our dreams come true. This happens to me all the time, getting invited to things like, wow, you know, that little girl in me is going, yay, this is so wonderful this is a dream come true. So yeah, $630,000 becomes, you know, $150,000 back at least, if not more. And then you reinvest that. I used to work with a woman, a really savvy businesswoman, and she would always say to me, the moment I make money, the first thing I do is hire another team member, because I know that team member is going to bring money back to my business so that I can reinvest once again. So she never loses money. She never goes under. She's just always going up in different ways.
And the only reason I even share that is for the message is, behind the message is that value yourself enough to invest in yourself because you're worth it. You're worth what comes back. And you and I are having this fabulous conversation from across the world. And I hope that when I get over there next year and I'm coming to where you live, that you will invite me over for a cup of tea. This is the payoff of meeting incredible businesswomen like yourself. You know, who you truly have a massive impact on people, which I have another question for you. Have you got time for a couple more? Because I really want to,
yes.
you do really have some fabulous wisdom here. You have said, I believe I've read, the more daring your accomplishments, the more people there are that are going to doubt you. What would you say to people that have, you know, heard that or having the same situation, or worse even there? You know, I don't know if you've experienced it, Debbie, but I have, the haters. Is it just me or?
Oh my God. I do so much. There's been everything from people who have met me, who just immediately wrote me off. And there's just something, I don't know what that is, but there's something in me that's like, really?
There's so much light in you. It's the light. It's blinding for some. It's the truth.
You know, yes. And of course, that's not inherent in me. That's in everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. I've done 2 marathons and people like, what? You're going to what? Yep. 26.2 miles. Watch me. You know?
That's hard work, girlfriend. That's hard work.
8 months of training.
Wow. I applaud you.
It's deep. When you have a desire, there is nothing that can stop you. I've been that way with getting guests on my show who people like, really? You couldn't book that person. Watch me. You know, I have been doubted a lot. I know many people have been doubted a lot, but there is something about rising to the occasion. Is that the truth of who I am? Am I that limited? Heck no, I'm a major manifester. I want that. Of course I'm going to create that. And if not that, that's something way better. That is my mantra in life. And there is a little part of me that feels like, watch me. But it's a very silent watch me. I don't ever say it to the person, but I know what gets lit inside of me. And it's like, oh yeah, come hell or high water, this is going down. And there is something so delicious on the other side about doing that. I mean, and I've done it with some amazing things, you know, relationship that ended. And I was like in shock and going, how did that end? Like we were in love and what kind of choices were made? And, you know, what was going on for me that I contributed to that, all that stuff. You know, and a little journey, and then all of a sudden the relationship, I mean, crazy how it remanifested. And I've done that in career, and I've done that in accomplishments. Absolutely. I believe that those are our highest callings. It's not about doing the stuff every day that we've done over and over again, and we can light a cigar or, you know, drink a glass of wine and go, yeah, I've done that. Been there, done that.
Yep.
It's about the things that are brand new, out of our comfort zone, haven't been created, and maybe we can't even fully see the matrix of it yet, but we know we desire it, and that's enough. And I am telling you that if that's all you have, it will happen. I know it will happen. If it's that pure, it's that easy.
That's, you know, beautifully said. And I hope that everyone listening to this is taking copious amounts of notes, which brings me to this question, talking about what you just said. How important is for you, and I know it's been a massive part of my life, having mentors, standing on the shoulders of giants, as DeMartini would say, and other world leaders, and being in masterminds to ensure that, you know, we get to stand guard at the entry of our mind who enters rent free. How important has that been for you, and what would you love to say on that particular subject?
Yeah, It's life changing. Mentors can be people that we interact with personally or that we watch from afar. It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine that there's someone who's a speaker who maybe you're not going to meet in person,
Yeah.
but you follow them and you read them, and what they say changes you, and you take it to heart and you start incorporating it in your life and living the changes in your life. So mentors are in person, not in person. It is everything. And to let somebody in, I think you have to have mad respect for somebody. And it changes for me over the years. I will always love the people from my past who taught me things, so humble am I, that always thinking I knew everything and knew so little. And somebody would come along and show me a completely different point of view and way of understanding things. Very powerful. And it still happens today. I will say my mentor right now, and I say very proudly, is Dr. Sue Morter. And if you don't know who she is, then I'm pleased to introduce you to her. I couldn't sing her praises enough about who she is. But this woman is somebody who has been launched into the world so huge. I mean, I don't know how she goes as fast as she does and does as much as she does, but she facilitates thousands of people around the world. I've been very fortunate to have interviewed her, to have taken many of her classes. And when she does something, I show up. I want to learn from her, because for me today, she's a voice of now, and in a way I haven't heard before. So I'm very involved with her as my mentor. And, and honestly, the divine really is my mentor, without a doubt. I receive messages that, I don't know, I guess I always thought the divine was probably like many people do. You get this weird idea, somebody in robes, or, what the heck is that energy? It's completely not that anymore. And now I really understand how profoundly wise and funny and gentle and loving that voice is. Very guiding. And I am very much in constant contact, very comforted by that voice. And that's probably my ultimate mentor. And I'm somebody who believes we're all a part, that energy is everything. I'm a part of the divine is part of me.
Yep.
And so, like, wow, what a description, right? How could you not have net worth and self-worth if you're a part of the divine, that beautiful, loving, sumptuous energy that just wants the very best for you?
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. We say millionairess from the inside. You're already a millionairess in your God-given or goddess-given gifts and talents. And, that's the thing that I love helping women see, because there are all so many women, and I know I've been this woman too, Debbie, growing up, looking on the outside for answers, looking on the outside to make me happy, looking on the outside to help elevate my self-worth. And over the time, I've learned to look inside. And I get the feeling as a mentor, you're very similar with the people that you work with, even when you're helping them write their bestseller and get in front of media and really elevate their presence to get their message out there. Do you sort of do this type of work with them, help them, open up and blossom from within? Is that the sort of stuff that you concentrate on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my clients are hilarious. I
can imagine over there.
They are so precious to me. They make me laugh so much. I feel so lucky. I know I'm so lucky because I attract some magnificent people. Today I was working with a gal. We do these sessions every week. She's a real go-getter. She's such a personality. And she said over and over in our Zoom today, "You're so patient, Debbie. You're such a good woman. You're so patient."
I love it. Well, you are. You've got beautiful energy.
Thank you. That's very kind. And it's honestly, it's not a problem, right? If when you're in the flow, she's going to get what she needs as she gets it. She's got a timeline, by the way. She's the second client that just came to me pregnant. Isn't that interesting? Who said, not only am I pregnant, but guess what? We got to write the book, make it a bestseller, and get me interviewed in 3 months. I'm like, you're on. We're going to do it. I'm reverse engineering your life, girlfriend.
Exactly. Let's start today.
Yes. And I love it because she shows up and I show up and we're co-creating and it's happening, and she's also going to start a podcast at the same time. And like I told you, hungry, willing. You win, I'm in,
Oh, I like it. I like it. I love your word co-creating at its best. Well, you do say in 60 days or less, so she can have it all done. You've got an extra 30 days up your sleeve. What are you going to do? Go and drink red wine, rosé all day?
I can, she can, she's pregnant, but I'll have the glass for her.
I'll come and join you.
Which I happen to love, by the way. I'm a certified wine specialist.
Oh, I'm the bubbles girl. Oh, I do love a drink.
I do too. Wine for me is pure luxury and beyond. But yeah, I do feel that I like to believe I show up for people, and I do feel very humbled by who I attract. I have a gentleman who's just interviewed me the other day and vetted me, and he's quite big in the movie business. And he's going to do a book and the whole 9 yards. He wants to do the whole system with me. And I'm humbled.
Congratulations. That is incredible.
I know who he knows. I know who his clients have been. And I'm like, and we had a beautiful conversation. It's really clear what this working relationship will be like. So it's like, yeah, let's do this. He has a timeline too. He wants to do it before the end of the year and before the award season starts next year. So it's like, it's a lot. We're going to do it.
Oh, congratulations. You deserve it. I mean, divine intervention, divine, cooperation. It is perfect. And I can so see it. It's exciting. You can see you absolutely shine with what you do with the people that you serve. You can see that you're just loving it. Now, for the women who just look at you and go, she's so confident, she's so radiant, she's so fabulous, I want to be more like Debbie, but, I'm sitting at home here. What would you say to a woman who, she's bursting to be like yourself? Because I guess like me, you haven't always been this confident girl. We've shared a lot of your story. What would you say to that woman? And she hasn't got a lot of time to waste, Debbie, by the way.
I would say you're so right. I mean, you're right, because I am that. And I'm not going to play small. I'm not going to show you my underbelly. I am. If you were to come to me and say, Debbie, help me with mathematics, I may point you in a different direction. That would not be my sweet spot. And I think for all of us, there are things we are a genius at. You are a piece of the puzzle of heaven here on earth. Own it. And that's where you can claim your fame. The rest, hire somebody else to do it. But when you're fabulous at something, step into it. Yes, I'm that. Absolutely. And if you will just do that, it's so much easier to be very successful because people get it. When you start speaking, they understand what you know and what you can bring to them and to their lives. So yes, I am confident about this. And yes, I deserve, to be so. And yes, you do too. So just step into your own little island of fabulousness and claim it and own it and be that out in the world.
There you go, ladies. You've just been given permission. No lame excuses. What would you say to the women who have a plethora of excuses? I call it excuse-itis. What would you say to that woman?
I see you. I see you. And how much time do you have?
Yep.
Really, what does time mean to you? I know we say it's an illusion. That's awesome. I know we say we're reincarnated. That's awesome. I mean, these all just sort of support the excuses because, and I believe in all that, but what I'm saying is, I don't know. I don't want to live with regrets. I've had a few in my life. People I didn't treat like I wished I would when I was young. and I've gone back and made major amends to situations I wish I'd behaved differently in when I was young, and I've gone on in and rectified that. And you only need to do that once to realize that's not who I am. And part of who I am is tick, tick, tick. Like if my soul came here with great purpose, who am I to not align with that purpose and to hold up the train and resist it? Like that's silly, right? It takes so much more energy to resist than to flow. And so if you can just let life take you where you're supposed to be, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be unaware of how, like, will I be great if I do this? Doesn't matter. Just do it. Like, are you going to die from just trying something or being something or getting on stage, putting yourself out there? No way. So I say, you know, how much time do you have and energy? Just reevaluate that, because life is not slowing down. If anything, it's speeding up, and it's not going to wait for you to jump on the train. Just jump. The rest will happen.
So true. I say all the time, one life, no regrets.
That's beautiful. That's our t-shirt.
Really?
That's our new t-shirt. One life, no regrets. We got to make it.
We've got to make it, you know, and it's not as hard when you surround yourself with fabulous people, mentors like yourself. Mentors have mentors. Success leaves clues. You know, I always say to these women, get in the right community, get around the support, because we all need it. Nobody gets there alone. And, you know, it's impossible. And just, you know, make that first step, one step at a time, one day at a time, you know.
It's really true. And I love that piece you said. I always dreamed of the kind of best friends I wanted and the kind of tribe I wanted. And I live that today. Like I'm surrounded by people's like, oh, this is so cool. You know, you can be that and have that when you step into your purpose.
Yeah.
And you find yourself surrounded by people, they seriously up level you. This is the conversation.
This is the goal. This is the best, isn't it? And, you know, I am so grateful that you and I got to chat, but I have one very special question, Debbi. I want you to share with us specifically what you would love to be known and remembered for.
I have been given this vision lately, and it's really what is accelerating what I'm doing right now. And so I'm very much living what I'm talking about, because I don't know fully where I'm headed. I know everything I'm talking about is coming with me. The vision is very much of a goddess, a priestess. There's a long flowing dress. I'm quite sure I've been this in many other lives, but she is calling to me profoundly to be a shamanistic healer right now and to incorporate that in the work I do. To be that with who I work with in retreats and privately and in groups. But it's what I'm doing, but at a whole new level. And so I've been doing a lot of healing courses and certifications. I just know something's coming. And I am saying yes.
That's profound. Well, I look forward to watching this journey, and I want to just say thank you from my heart for being part of the Millionairess magazine and the movement, because, you know, your story and your wisdom is integral in paying it forward and helping other women elevate their self-worth, net worth, and life worth. And we just really appreciate you. So thank you, Debbi. It means a lot to us. Specifically handpicked, hand chosen, because you know, we're so aligned in so many ways. It almost feels like you're a sister from another mother. So many similar stories.
That's beautiful. I'm so thrilled. I'm so tickled to meet you as well.
And you too.
Thank you for having me and for connecting with me. And I can't wait to meet you too.
We'll be over there next year, Deb. We're coming over to LA next year. So, and I'll be probably sticking around the area where you are. So I'd love to reach out and catch up with you in person.
We must. This is just the beginning. That's what I love about moments like this. When you do what you do out in the world, you can meet people like you, and then things unfold from there. So this is not a goodbye. This is literally the beginning of a new relationship, and I am looking forward to more.
Myself as well. And thank you again. Robin will be in touch with the details, but our listeners will get so much from what you shared today. It has been one of my favourite conversations. So again, thank you, gorgeous. You have a lovely evening. Have you got something special planned? Are you having a rosé later, or what's the story?
No, I am not. I am actually packing some stuff to head back to my guy's house tomorrow. And I'm getting ready, prepared myself for a pretty big interview tomorrow with somebody in Amsterdam who I booked on my show. I saw her on television, and she blew my mind. All I could hear was truth, truth, truth. And I said, I've got to connect with her. And I moved heaven and earth. It was supposed to be like a fall interview. I'm like, I can't wait. I have to be with her. So I changed my whole schedule to have her on tomorrow. And she made it clear several things, which I loved. We can't run ads. We can't go on Facebook. It has to be longer than an hour because she's going to be channeling.
Oh.
So, so since you get it, she channels from another planet. And I am telling you, this is all new for me. Like, I'm on fire with this stuff right now. And I heard this woman and I'm like, wow, I got to do this. So I'm like, done. You don't even have to worry. She was so apologetic. I'm like, it's my show. I own it. Trust me. I'll hire a voiceover actor. They'll put the intro and outro. This is nothing.
It's all good. It's all good.
Oh, good. I got you. Yeah, see, that's me tomorrow, at least an hour and a half with this.
I've got goosebumps, girl. I got goosebumps. Yes. Yes. Well, you want to have probably an AFD, an alcohol-free day then. So you've got your wits.
I need alcohol-free big time. Yes.
Not when I visit though, right?
Not when you visit. And also, I don't know how open you are about medicine and plants and things.
I have a very open mind.
So I'm also, my guy and I are on a list. We'll see if there's room for us Saturday to do I can't never say this word. It's not ayahuasca, it's huasca. It's something like the San Pedro. Anyway, they're going to see if they have room for us. And if so, it's a dieta, which means you have to have fruit, vegetables, fish. That's it.
Yep.
No meat, no alcohol, no coffee. So I've been cleaning it up the past couple of days in case we get in. And if we don't, it'll all be good anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. That sounds exciting. Maybe that's why you're extra radiant today. But it doesn't. I think rosé and bubbles makes you even more radiant and giggly. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I love all of that so much. Oh, I do.
Oh, look, all the best. You know, it sounds so intriguing, so exciting. So I hope you get selected and there's room for you, and all the best with that interview tomorrow. Wow, I would love to hear about that. That would just be incredible. Well, if you want, send me your, you could connect with Apple Podcasts, Dare to Dream. Yeah.
There's so many, or go to YouTube. YouTube's just growing. That's very, even though I've been doing.
I've been seeing you on that. I've been watching a bit.
Yeah, cool. So if you go to YouTube, Debbi Dachinger, she'll be there.
She'll be there. And I'll send you a PM with my details, and I'll let you know when we're in Hollywood early next year, I hope. And I can't wait to hear about tomorrow. So you'll have to send me a little line how it went. Woo! I will, my dear. What are you going to do tonight? What do you have on the docket? It's only daytime here, so we're getting our magazine launched for next week, our second magazine with Kim Kiyosaki on the cover. So we're just finalising that, and just all the little bits and pieces. So we've had so many beautiful women like yourself lining up to share their wisdom, and I think it's time. It's just the right time, Debbie, that women are just banding together, and no one is seeing anything as competition, because the universe expands as we do, as you well know. And it's just so lovely to see, and I know when you're on the calling, because everything is always working out.
And they will send me the links because I like to also promote the magazine to my people.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Robin mentioned something about your book course and all that. And so she's going to talk with you about that. And we send you all the links. And we also have media behind all of our magazines. So we're going to be sharing your story. We do a little live TV show every week after the magazine, or every month, and crossing over to you from this interview, sharing your wisdom. And so, yeah, more and more media behind what we're doing. So that's why I'm so thrilled to have gotten to meet you on video, and I know in person soon.
Yeah, this is great. Okay.
Yeah. All right, gorgeous. Take care and have a fabulous to you. Love heart. You're gorgeous.
You are as well. Thank you for making this so fun.
All right, beautiful lady. Have fun.
Bye.